This is Will's Band of the Week for November 20th, 2016. Hello, and welcome to another edition of Will's Band of the Week. This is Will, along with Grant, live in studio.
Hello, everyone.
Here he is. He's live in the studio again.
Yes, I am.
To bring us music from the underground.
That's exactly what I'm going to do.
We didn't really come up with that term, did we? Do you think it's unoriginal to call it underground?
Maybe a little, but I think it's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Sounds better than counterculture or something like that.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right. So, well, we did a little pre-production meeting, and we decided that we're not going to just oversaturate the audience just for the sake of coming up with several bands, right?
Right.
So we decided we're going to kind of streamline it. Only the bands that are actually worthy make it onto the podcast, right?
Only the best for our listeners.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to do. So, before we get to that, there's some excitement. There's always excitement on the podcast. That's why people tune in, right? Because they know there's some level of excitement will happen. So let's get right to it. That's rock and roll. I'm declaring that rock and roll.
I agree.
That means live report, right? Last week I was talking about the Pavlovian response. You know, like when people hear that, they know a live report is forthcoming.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So, well, first of all, have you ever heard a one-word live report?
Huh. I don't know. Maybe that would be what's necessary if you were doing a live report of that White Stripes show where they just played one note and then walked off stage.
Oh, they did that, didn't they?
Uh-huh.
They just walked up there and then they just went...
I think it's in a documentary or whatever. Right. Yeah. That would warrant a one-word review, I think.
That's a funny thing to think about. It was like a small public park, right? And there's a rumor the White Stripes are going to play.
It was an outdoor venue, for sure. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Now, what I never really heard was, did the audience get really mad?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, you'd think you'd be mad, but you'd also laugh.
They
right?
might be they might feel cheated, but they would know they witnessed something historical.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe that would make up for it a little bit if they're big enough of a White Stripes fan.
Yeah, I think if the gig is odd enough, that maybe that makes up for the fact, like a couple of those Deer Hunter gigs.
Yeah.
Where they went unhinged or whatever.
If you were there when Bradford Cox covered the same song for like 30 minutes.
He played My Sharona or something,
right?
Yeah,
that was it. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, yeah. Or the story about the Waves show where they got in a brawl.
Right, yeah. You totally get indie cred if you've been to one of those freak out things.
If it gets written about, if nobody writes about it, you don't get enough cred, then it's like it's not cool, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I was going to give a one-word live report. Are you ready for it?
Yes.
Proto-Martyr.
I'm in agreement.
Right?
It's our fourth time, right?
We could stop right there.
We're veterans.
You and I have now both seen Proto-Martyr 4 times. 3 times at the same shows that were in Madison, and then one time I saw them in Madison and you saw them when you were in Vancouver, right?
That's correct.
So, and those were only like a week apart, I think, or even less. They were traversing the continent.
They were going wild, traveling on tour, spanning a large distance in a short amount of time.
So I'll say a little bit more than the one-word live report, and that is, going into this, I was kind of sensitive to the fact that I've seen them 3 times already, and I thought, I know I really like this band, but it might be kind of just like all of the other times, and therefore maybe I'll be like not that much into it just because I've seen it so many times already.
Mm-hmm.
So I was concerned about that. But it was totally not a problem whatsoever. I think for two reasons. One, they're just a great band. But the other thing is they played a lot of new songs, or maybe some of them were old. Like there were probably almost a third of the songs I didn't know.
Yeah,
and they were
the same for me.
And they were good, right? They were
totally
engaging, and they were, sort of, I don't know, kind of punk rock sort of.
Yeah. There are some faster ones. I was thinking maybe one of them was like a cover, but I don't know. I think it was probably a new song. It was really good. Very sort of like punk rockabilly vibe.
And I was a little disappointed that they didn't draw more people. I'm not very good at estimating crowds, but I'd say maybe they might have beaten 100, right? It might have been like 125 people. That
sounds right to me, yeah.
In a 400 capacity venue, so it was definitely not packed or anything. But so decent crowd. Like it felt like it was worth it for them to come, right?
Yeah, I mean, they could have sold out the Frequency probably. So
right. Yeah,
that's success in a way for the kind of band they are.
Right. So anyway, keep on rocking, Proto Martyr. That's an excellent band in my top tier of bands for sure.
Yes. Top quality live band for sure. Go see them if you get the chance.
All right. And now, this is kind of exciting. We have a live report from a contributor, our listener David from New York City. He's got a live report. We're going to play it right now. Actually, we should have pretended that we had him on live, right? I didn't pull that off.
Work too.
Oh, well, here it is.
Hi, this is your New York City correspondent with a live report. First of all, I just want to say that I had the opportunity to see Okkervil River last month, and for anybody who likes their current work, anybody who loved the early work, or anybody who is a fan of the work that comes in between, I would recommend, if you have a chance, to go see them, because that show was absolutely amazing. Now, on to this week. This week I had a chance to see Sun Kil Moon, and I took the opportunity because I'd never had the chance to see Mark Kozelek in any of his previous incarnations. I was hoping that I could hear some of the really great, lyrical, beautiful songs from the early Sun Kil Moon period, but unfortunately what I was mostly exposed to was the recent work, which, as you know, is very talky, very self-referential, and decidedly not lyrical, although it is highly emotional. But in any case, he was not doing anything but very current songs from the last one or two albums, and he made that pretty clear. He got a request from the audience for Carry Me Ohio, and he let people know that he was not doing any of that. So what we basically experienced was a kind of a spoken word concert with backing music, in a sense. Jesu, the band that he's working with now, provided a kind of a drone background, and he, with the help of a lot of written lyrics on a music stand, went through a lot of his recent material, which, as I say, was more like a spoken word performance in many ways than it was singing. And if you like that sort of thing, it was great. It was funny, it was angry, it was emotional, it was intense, but not, I would say, highly musical. And so I couldn't really take the whole performance in. Now, somewhere around the third song, Mark was chatting with someone in the front of the audience and discovered what we all knew, but he did not, which was that Leonard Cohen had just died, or the announcement had just come out. And he dealt with that in a fabulous way. I mean, he talked a little bit about how he felt, and since the band had nothing prepared, he decided to do a Leonard Cohen song a cappella, which he did. He sang most of Famous Blue Raincoat, and then went back to his own work. He also talked a lot about other people who have passed away recently, Lou Reed particularly, Muhammad Ali, and the combination of the two. It was quite interesting. But as I say, more an experience of being with Mark than it was a great musical experience. And on to the next live review.
Thank you, David, from New York City. That was interesting to hear about Ockerville River, because I think it's not even the same band anymore. It's like the Will Sheff project. I think he just has completely different people in his band. Grant's cat. Hey, she made an appearance one of the other recent podcasts, didn't she?
I think so, yeah. She's a returning guest now.
All right. So anyway, thank you, David, from New York City. And those are some good indie rock veterans to hear about. Ockerville River and Sun Kill Moon.
Yeah.
They don't come around Madison as often. Those are like acts you can see in New York City more often. So he's going to be our scout in New York City now. Man, the cat, she is like really determined. Maybe she's got an album she wanted to talk about.
She's featured on some of my songs.
Really? Do you have her on?
On some of the like goof songs, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
She's sampled. I haven't found a way to use her completely musically yet.
Yeah. I don't know, a cat
We're working
meow.
towards it. Sometimes she steps on the keyboard in my room and plays some avant-garde cat compositions.
You could have the looper on, and have the cat step on it. And then maybe something cool would come out of it.
I could make something out of it with enough determination, I'm sure.
Yeah. There's every variety of cat video on the internet. And I think one of them is, they show a cat's paw on a piano, and then they play like actual like beautiful music as if the cat is actually playing that.
That's definitely a trend.
One of those cat
it's an old
themes.
one.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. Yep. All right. Good. All right. So that's our live report segment. Any music news? Has anything happened? I don't think anything has happened.
This is the time of year where music starts to sort of stagnate more than usual, I think.
Right. Everybody is kind of just waiting for the end of year and the holidays and everything, and then January it kind of picks up again. Man, she is totally wanting to be on the podcast.
Yeah.
So there was a death of somebody who I'm not that familiar with, but a woman named Sharon Jones, and she had a band called Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings, kind of a, I don't know, soul or blues kind of thing, but very, very highly regarded. So it's worth mentioning, but since I'm not very familiar with the music, I can't really.
Yeah,
I have no intelligent comment. So
I heard that person died, but I actually wasn't sure if she was like a musician or an actress or something. But now I know.
Yeah, sometimes it's like a name that you've heard. We had that experience. We were walking down State Street, which was kind of the main drag in downtown Madison, and walked by the Orpheum Theater, and there were a bunch of artists listed who are going to be playing there. And some of them I didn't know if they were musicians or comedians, because it's like a name that you heard before, and which is like shows how out of touch I am, because they're playing at a 2,000 seat venue in Madison, so they've got to be pretty darn popular, but I don't know anything about them. So we're still in our little narrow world of indie rock, I guess, right?
Yep, our niche.
Yeah. Well, so speaking of the narrow world of indie rock, before the cat completely takes over the podcast, maybe we should start talking about actual music, right?
It's not a bad idea. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you've got two things this week, and one is one that you told me about like a month ago, so I got to listen to it, which is great. And the other one is a band that we listened to before, but the current thing I haven't listened to yet. So maybe we should start with Johns. So tell the audience about Johns.
Johns are a guitar-based, sort of psychedelic, sort of poppy band from Victoria, British Columbia. I think, have we talked about them on the podcast before?
I'm not sure. We've talked about...
I think we probably have. They had a tape or release called Surfs of Today from a couple of years ago, maybe 1 year ago. It was a lot more lo-fi than what they're doing now. But they have a new album out called At Work on Several Things, and it's quite good. So we're going to feature it on this very podcast.
That's what we're going to do. And we talked about this before, about how it must be interesting being a band from Victoria because it's kind of isolated, right?
Yeah,
I mean, just like to get to the
island
to get to
town.
mainland North America, it takes like a couple hours, and you have to take a ferry,
Right.
and you
Yes.
get to Vancouver that way. So it must be kind of interesting, the whole music scene there. I don't know if that's necessarily good or bad, but there definitely are some bands from there that are cool. There's one called Fountain that we've talked about once or maybe even twice on the podcast. Yeah.
One of my favorite bands, Freak Heat Waves, is from there.
Yeah, so, that's pretty good considering the
Yeah.
kind of small area that it covers. So let's start with a track. What are we going to play first?
We are going to start with the track In the Yard.
Guess I better fade that one out a little bit earlier because I just played the whole song, so we could get shut down permanently for doing that. So
Yes, although you can stream the whole thing on Bandcamp free of charge.
yeah,
So,
I'll chop off the last
so you
few
know.
seconds.
uh-huh.
So you did not just hear the whole song.
Absolutely not.
That's John's. Yeah. So I think we always talk about this, especially when Barrett is on. We always have to find somebody to compare it to, right?
Yes.
Just because it's kind of fun. So for your basic indie rock fan, if you said, okay, what does this band sound like? I think there's like kind of a clear one.
What's that?
Tame Impala.
Oh, I totally had not thought of that, but I get what you mean, for sure.
It has kind of a similar, I don't know, the recording sounds kind of similar, and there's a lot going on.
The recording is sort of like mid-fi home recording style, which is kind of my personal favorite because pristine studio stuff can kind of bore me if it's too like turbo. All the instruments are like separated in their own frequency range. I don't know. It's too sterile sometimes. And this is
Right.
They did a really good job making the guitars sound good, adding like intro flourishes, like you hear like the decay of delay pedals and just kind of pops in and out in like the starts and ends of songs. It's really pleasant and nice.
And they're good songwriters. There's a lot of,
For sure.
just a lot of good tunes on the album. That's what it all comes down to. It comes down
The
to tunes. Yep.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can make a pick. There's one that I like a lot.
Yeah, let's do it.
I wonder if you're going to guess which one it is. Well, you can tell me if after the fact. You can tell me if you guessed what I would pick. So I'm going with track 4 called "So Slow." That's John's. The album is called At Work on Several Things.
Yeah.
13 songs, about 47 minutes. And one of the reasons it's long is there's a long psychedelic jam in the middle.
Yeah, 9-minute track.
Yeah. And, I think it's kind of good the way they did that because, it's okay. It fits in okay. Albums that have too many of those, I don't like, but I think this one is all right.
Yeah, I think it doesn't drag on or get grating. It's keeps you engaged the whole time. The whole album and that specific song.
Yeah.
I have another pick, if you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right. Let's play Dobro Genius.
Once again, you did not hear the whole song.
Yep.
That's John's. Yeah. So that's cool because it goes in an unexpected direction, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's kind of, I can't think of the word. Pitchfork would call it idiosyncratic because they don't know how to describe songs with dramatic tempo and like key changes.
They know how to use the word idiosyncratic, I guess.
I guess so, yeah.
So
I remember I posted something when I used to have a Tumblr and use a blog. Because I'm a huge fan of the band Women. I was reading an interview where someone was like reading quotes from different publications that wrote about their album to them, and their guitarist who ended up dying in his sleep said something about like the Pitchfork review and like dissed them for using idiosyncratic and said something like, what is that even supposed to mean in the context of music? And what I posted on my now deceased blog was when they were talking about the Preoccupations album, they also called it idiosyncratic. So they clearly did not take into account that criticism from that obscure interview.
They couldn't help it. Idiosyncratic.
Yeah. It's one of their buzzwords for the post-punk, I guess.
Yeah. Guess so. Sometimes it's hard to avoid repeating the same words.
Yeah.
But not that I'm going to give them a pass for writing bad reviews, but okay. Well, do you want to play one more, or should we move on to the next one?
I actually had another pick if you don't think it's too excessive.
No, we've got plenty of time here. We're a free-form podcast.
All right.
Let's play one more.
Cool. Let's play Equestrian Form.
Flickering on, but burning the thought. Sometimes it feels wrong to cope with the pain. We take whatever helps. I am myself more than anyone else.
Yeah, that's good. John's.
Good drums on that one.
Yeah, definitely. So people should check out that band.
For sure.
Unless they hated what we've just played, then they probably shouldn't check it out
Well,
any
yeah.
further. Yeah. But why would they hate it?
How
There's
could
no
they?
reason to. Right.
Yeah.
So I think the good bands from Victoria, so John's, Fountain, and Freak Heat Waves could all get together and come to the mainland and do a U.S. tour. Be
Yeah,
super cool.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So you guys should do that. I'm recommending it to you people. I'm talking to the bands.
Yeah, I'll second that for sure.
All right. They'd at least have, like 2 people in their audience if they came to Madison. Probably more.
At least 5. 5 guaranteed. I'd
Yeah.
force my friends to come if I thought nobody else would.
Yep. I could set up to 5. Maybe I could recruit a couple more. Get set up to 7. And then
it'd be a wild 7-person
Yeah.
event. Who
Yep.
knows?
we're just kidding. You could draw way more. They could, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely in places other than Madison.
Yeah. All right. Good. That was good. So we're short and sweet this week, but we do have one more. And this is a band you have talked about on the podcast before. So tell us about them.
Fourth Wanderers from Montclair, New Jersey. Pretty straightforward indie rock band. Guitars, vocals, bass guitars, drums.
That's rock and roll.
That's the essentials, the basics.
Yeah.
That's what works. So, yeah, let's play the first song off this new 4-track EP, which is called Slop EP. And the first song is called Know Better.
Fourth Wanderers.
Yeah.
I did some music journalism while that was playing.
What did you find?
It was pretty hard hitting because I wanted to see where Montclair, New Jersey is.
Mhm.
It's not too far from Newark, and there by the transitive property, not too far from New York City.
right.
Probably, I don't know, probably takes them an hour to get to New York City by train, I'm going to say. I didn't do the Google search for trying to get there. I could have done that if I was better at
Yeah,
music
if you're
journalism.
super precise.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But anyway, it's in that general area. So, yeah, it's good. I like it.
Yeah. Their lyrics are good. They're kind of classic song lyrics in the sense that there's a lot of double meanings and intentional ambiguity, but that gets me off. So I like it.
Cool. That's good.
Yeah. I think next we should play the title track, Slop.
Yeah, when there's a song called Slop, you kind of have to play it, right?
Absolutely.
Thank
That's Fourth Wanderers. We were doing some hard-hitting music journalism during that.
Uh-huh.
So what did you find?
Well, I found that songwriter Adam Schlesinger of Fountains of Wayne apparently grew up both in Manhattan and Montclair, New Jersey, where these guys are from. So that's an interesting music trivia item if you're Fountains of Wayne guys like us.
You know, I was going to say, who do they sound more like, Yola Tango or Bruce Springsteen? Or isn't the guy from Cymbals Eat Guitars from New Jersey, too?
He's from Staten Island. Is that New Jersey?
Oh, Staten Island would be New York.
Oh, well, he
I think-
probably was there a lot as a kid.
There was
I think
some
he's
New Jersey connection at some point.
mentioned it in songs and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I looked at where Bruce Springsteen was actually from, and he was from coastal New Jersey, more to the south, a place called Long Branch. And then I looked on the map, and then just south of Long Branch is Asbury Park, which is, I think that's in the title of a Springsteen album, Greetings from Asbury Park.
Yeah, it sounds right.
Yeah, so there you go. All kinds of New Jersey trivia for you today. So, but Fourth Wanderers, that's like the cool New Jersey, right?
Totally.
Yep. Well, that's good. So are we going to leave it at that?
I think that's it for music picks. Yeah.
All right. Let's do that.
Cool.
So very good. So I don't know if you're going to come up with more for December.
Yeah, you never know. Sometimes stuff comes out of nowhere.
Plus, we're going to start getting really busy with the end of year lists anyway. So
Yeah.
we'll
I
probably
have
be able to blather on for a long
I've-
time.
barely started to think about that even, so I'm going to have to commit myself to compiling stuff at some point.
Yeah. I've started a list so that I can at least go and look and say, okay, these are the things in contention.
Yeah.
So, and probably for the bands, the most important thing is trying to get onto my list. I mean, the podcast in general, but I think on my list is where you really want to be.
That's the prestige, the
Yeah.
Nobel Prize.
That's like
of musical recognition.
completely, yeah.
Mhm.
Like prestige just doesn't go higher than that. So, you know what I think I should do? I'm going to do this. It's going to be fun. I'm going to preview next week's podcast. We don't usually do that. Part of the reason is we have no idea what the next week's podcast is going to be.
Yeah.
But since I know what the next one's going to be, I'm going to tell everybody about it, and maybe we can get people's input. So Baird and I don't know if we'll get Chris on this one or not, but at least Baird and I have committed to this. We're going to do a special about the music from the year 1986. So we've both put together some songs that we thought were cool from 1986. So I can throw it out to the listeners. If anybody's got a particular 1986 favorite, let us know, and maybe, just maybe, it could be included on the podcast for next week. Although here, I got to warn you, though, because this is what's going to happen. I can see this happening already. We have to record this podcast early because of the upcoming Thanksgiving holiday. So we might have already recorded it by the time we get your suggestions. So send them right away
Yeah.
if you hear this.
Be quick. First come, first serve.
Yep. Probably most people will have like their favorite music from 1986 in their head right away, and they'll be able to just pop right back out, right?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because there are some really famous like alternative rock artists that put out albums in 1986 that'll be kind of the favorites. But then there are some, like I found a couple things in my library that are really fun, that are like bands that probably not that many people heard. So it'll be fun. So there you go. Preview of next week. So maybe people will appreciate the streamlined, no fat version of the podcast this week. You think?
I think so.
I hope so. So if you don't like it, then that's fine. You can just listen to NPR instead.
Yes.
Right?
Send your complaints to the Wills Band contact info you'll hear at the end.
Right. We're going to play
You're
the contact
outraged.
info. Right. You can say, good riddance or something, and send us a message that says, this is why I'm never listening to this podcast again.
Yeah.
Right?
You could even do a voice recording that we can play on here.
Right. Yeah, that'd be good. Might be satisfying.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll talk to you again. If you decide to keep listening, we'll talk to you again next week with another edition of Will's Band of the Week. Good night.
Good night.
You can subscribe to the Will's Band of the Week podcast using iTunes or any other podcast app. All of our podcasts are also available directly on our webpage, willsband.net. You can contact us directly by email to willsband@yahoo.com, on our Facebook page, or on Twitter @willsband. The Will's Band of the Week podcast is brought to you every week from Fourth Bedroom Studios in Madison, Wisconsin. Our theme music was composed by Grant and performed by Grant and Will. Thanks for listening.